Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. I'm curious about Chanukah. And as we already related, Hanukkah is not the Jewish Christmas, even though the 25th of the month of that Hanukkah occurs in is related to the 25th month of the end of the year where Christmas occurs. Hanukkah is a rabbinic holiday, not a biblical holiday. Hanukkah has very little to do with potatoes, but we'll talk about eating things that are made with oil in the next segment. Right now, we're going to talk about religious oppression and women as the tip of the spear in the Hanukkah story, because Hanukkah is about miracles. The two greatest miracles, actually the three, two of the greatest miracles that occurred for Hanukkah had to do with fighting, with victory, with overcoming great odds. That was miraculous. And it wasn't just the men who did the fighting, it was women. You see, part of the Greek, and they were the Syrian Greeks, they were the inheritors of Alexander's empire. Part of what the Greek tradition was to make everyone worship pagan gods. There was a multiplicity of gods, but not for the Jews. The Jews are the one monotheistic religion, the Abrahamic tradition that has been going on even at the time of Hanukkah story, which is about 150 years before the Christian era. By that time, Jews had already been worshiping and understanding that there's one creator in the world since the time of the Exodus, which was some 1,500 years prior. We were an ancient people, an Oriental people, a riddle to those looking at and interacting with Jews. But the Syrian Greeks made decrees that said that any woman who was about to get married had to have relations first with the governor of the province or the local general. Now, unfortunately, this particular process was not just against the Jews. This was done in many other cultures that were conquered by the Greeks, but everybody else succumbed. Not Jewish women, tough beings. And we have the great story about Judith. We have an amazing story about Hannah. I'm going to try to make them very brief, but I want to warn you in advance that these are not easy stories to hear. Now, the story of Judith actually has many different variations. I'm going to tell you one of them. According to one, she was a Maccabean sister. According to another source, she was not, but she was a very beautiful woman who was a widow. And what she had decided to do was to take on the head of the Greek army, who, again, remember, was about to have relations with whoever was going to get married. So she said she was going to be married. And therefore, she now had to have relations first with the governor or the general in this particular case. She decided that she would go and she would feed him cheese and exotic drink and really make a party out of it. She's going to have to succumb. She's going to do it right. So she went with all those exotic cheeses and wines and dancing, etc. And he was loving it. He ate and he drank. And he drank, and he ate, and he ate, and he drank, and pretty soon he was a little bit sleepy, and he just snoozed for a bit. At that point, Judith unsheathed his sword, and I don't mean that as a double entendre, and cut off his head. Ah! Not only that, she went out of the tent and she held up his head to all of the soldiers around. They ran in terror, horrified that this woman would do such a thing. And she called upon her brothers or the Maccabeans to come now and attack the camp, which they did, and beat the great army of the Syrian Greeks. This was not the first time they did battle with them. That was the story of Judith. The story of Hanukkah, of Hannah, and Chanukah, even it may sounds the same, and it may have a similar root in terms of the Hebrew understanding of the letters. Hannah was blessed with 7 sons. At that time, the governor, or in this case, the king, Antiochus Epiphanes was his name. Antiochus ruled that everybody should bow down to him. Jews, do not bow down to other human beings. Just not what we do. He said he was going to kill anybody who would not bow down. Hannah was there. Other people bowed. Hannah and her 7 sons did not bow. The king said to her, if your sons don't bow down, I will kill them in front of your eyes. He took the first one. He said, would you bow? He said, no. Off with his head. He was decapitated. The second refused to bow, skewered with spears. The third one, shot through with arrows. The fourth, the fifth, the sixth, finally the seventh one, all of 4 years old. Antiochus himself couldn't take the bloodshed anymore. He whispered in the boy's ear, I'm going to drop my ring. Pick it up for me, please. It will look to everybody as if you're bowing down. You don't have to, but just do it. The boy looked to his mother. His mother said no. He refused to bow, to pick up the ring even. He was killed. Hannah said, Father Abraham, you were willing to sacrifice your one only dear true son. I sacrificed 7. The miracle of Hanukkah is the ability to face overwhelming odds, to face tyranny, to stare it down, and to overcome, because you know that you are in truth, in love, and we are the eternal people, the Jews. And the light of Hanukkah still burns today, 2,300 years later. And in the next segment, we're going to talk about an amazing aspect of the miracle of Hanukkah. So get ready. We'll be seeing you in just another 24 hours or so. Our prayer, of course, is to go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference.